I'm going to focus this video on some basic usage of GitHub and specifically GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop is just the beginning because users can use other programs like Git Bash and write commands to do merge commits. We'll see what one looks like and how to fix it at this basic level. This is supposed to make things easier for you and I to communicate and to share code. So I'm going to open up GitHub Desktop. This is what it looks like after you've connected your GitHub account to this software. I'm going to create a repository. I'll call it test1 and give it a small description. Next, I want to pick where this repository is going to live. Mine is going to live in my folder in my htdocs. It does not matter where your repository is, just that you've selected the right folder in your local path. I'm going to initialize this repository with a README. This will get your initial name and description of the repository. Git ignore is for if you have any files that you do not want to share with GitHub. Git ignore is good for when you have things that you want to keep secret, like database credentials. It ignores those files and does not track or publish them to GitHub. Right now, you don't have to worry about the license, but the drop-down will show you what's available. Create your repository. Then click Publish Repository. This will make a copy of what is currently in your folder on your machine and put it into GitHub. A couple more things. Name is what your repository is named. Description, both of these will show up in your README file. The Keep This Code Private is checked with the assumption that you don't want your code visible to everyone. I would uncheck this check. With a free account, you only get one private repo, and if you're going to share your code to potential employers, you should allow it to be public. Now all that your settings are set, publish the repository. The words "No local changes" tells you that your local files have not been changed. If we want to start our work, we can open this in our text editor, in my case, Sublime Text. You may use something else. It does not matter. The second button will open the local folder of the repository. Since I'm in Windows, it says Show in Explorer. This is not Internet Explorer, but Windows File Explorer. So if you click the button, it'll open the folder location for you. Let's view this on GitHub, which we can do with the last button. This is what our repository looks like on GitHub right now. I'm going to make a change on the GitHub repository that is not on my local machine. I can do that with this pen. I can do that because I'm signed into GitHub. It won't allow just anyone to come along and make a change to your code. They have to have permission. I'm going to commit my changes to the main branch. You don't have to worry about other branches yet. This is just to get you used to the basics and to start using GitHub. Now you can see I have made a change on the remote repository. Going back to GitHub Desktop, I'm going to open the repository in Sublime Text and see what's there now. This is the old code. Yep, no changes to local repository. In order to sync to my remote repository, I need to pull the code. I've made no changes locally, but as you can see where it says pull origin, it tells me that there's been a change on the remote repository. So best practice is to pull from the repo to your machine when you first start working. This is how you can collaborate on code with other people and get their updates. So here, I pull origin. And Sublime Text registers the update. This is a change not on local. I'll make a change on the local file so you can see what that looks like. Back in GitHub Desktop, I can see the changes that have been made. Green are additions and red are removals. So now I am going to push up this code to the repository. This is how I keep things clean and in sync. Small changes and pushes to the repository are the best way to do things. So now when I go back to the GitHub website, I can see the changes I made on my machine are on the website. Now I'm going to make a change on my file remotely and a change in my local. This will get my files out of sync and cause a problem. Back in Sublime Text, you can see I do not have the new change. I'm going to make a change here. This will cause a conflict. One file has one piece of information and the other file has a different piece of information. Here you can see the changes to the local. I'm going to push origin. Here's our error. This is a pain. Here we see further details. Desktop isn't designed to resolve conflicts, it just pushes and pulls code. Until we learn some commands or use Git or Git bash and use commands there to resolve issues like this, we have to do it manually. So I'm going to copy my folder and place it some place where I can find it again, where it is convenient. In this case, I'm going to copy it to the desktop. Now I'm going to delete the folder where it was originally, and this forces a new download from the repository. It helps to close out Sublime Text so that the folder is not used and can be deleted. Now that the program cannot find the deleted folder, it gives me options to reconnect with it. We can locate it if it has been moved, we can clone the remote on GitHub, or remove the repository altogether. Just clone again and you're fine. And look, now there are no more errors. Now we can see that the remote repository is what is currently here locally and has been successfully copied into the local folder. Depending on the difference between online and local, you may want to copy the local files that you have safely tucked away back into your local repository, or make whatever changes you need on the files that are currently there. That is up to you. I hope this has been a helpful guide and reference for use of GitHub Desktop. See you in class.